behind almost every successful artist I've found over the years, and I've been doing this way too long now, is a great manager, right? Whether you mentioned U2, we mentioned the Rolling Stones, we mentioned all these great bands, and typically there has been a manager behind them. In many cases, a long-time running manager. So that idea about putting together a professional team, if you're going to go from the aspiring kid practicing in front of the mirror to getting together your mates, making records and so forth. Typically having a manager along the way to help deal with all that stuff that you were not very comfortable with, right, is important. I've said a million times, when people ask me, how do you find a manager? I say more often than not, the great managers and the professional managers will find you. And it sounds like that was the case with you. I want you to talk about how you first hooked up with a manager, and then we'll spend a minute on why you chose me to be one of your managers.
Well, originally I was pretty, active in trying to source gigs in our local area, so all around the Birmingham and Black Country area in the Midlands. And I'd sit on my mum and dad's telephone all afternoon after I'd sent out the cassettes in the jiffy bags to all these different venues trying to get gigs. And you're right, what happened with us was we were making a little bit of a noise just in our local area, and quite a big manager, certainly to us it felt like he was the king of the rock and roll business. He'd managed the Beat, or the English Beat as you know him in the States, and then gone on to manage Fine Young Cannibals. There's a guy called John Mostyn who then had a hand in Ocean Coliseum's career, and he's still very active, great guy. And he heard about us and then mentioned it because he was a Birmingham-based manager. He mentioned it to some other people that he was working with, one of which was a guy called Les Johnson. And Les was one of those local promoters that I'd been sending cassettes out to looking for gigs. So you're right. So, it's what Les Johnson already knew who the band were, knew my name, had spoken with me on the phone when I'm just looking for gigs. And then John Mostyn hears of the Wonder Stuff and Somewhere Else because we appear in a lot of these venues. And it all comes together. So, yes, your assumption that good managers will often find the bands, but that's got to say, the advice to the band is you just got to keep playing. You just got to keep knocking on the door and being visible. And